Executive Director of Blackmore's Group, the leading natural health and dietary supplement company in Australia, and a major industry player throughout Asia. Marcus is an icon of the natural health industry in Australia. He is recognized as the founding father of the consumer industry in complementary medicine in Australia, following in the footsteps of his father, Maurice, who was one of the country's most influential and pioneering naturopaths. For decades, Marcus has fought hard for the regulation and rights of naturopaths and natural health products, and he has established strong political networks in Australia to protect freedom of health choice. Under Marcus's leadership, Blackmore's has grown from a small range of natural remedies to becoming the #1 natural health company in Australia, recognized across the Asia-Pacific region as one of the most trusted brands in natural health. Marcus is known for his commitment to his employees, and Blackmore's world-renowned profit share scheme and the state-of-art Blackmore's campus on Sydney's northern beaches are a testament to the value he places on staff well-being. Marcus's generosity is demonstrated through the work of his philanthropic foundation that he runs with his wife, Carolyn, which last year gifted $5 million to the National Institute of Complementary Medicine. To celebrate his 70th birthday 3 years ago, Blackmore's gifted a chair of integrated medicine at the University of Sydney in the name of Marcus's father and one of his great role models, Maurice Blackmore. For both Blackmore men, this chair represented the achievement of their life work to see complementary medicine recognized as a mainstream approach to treating illness. So please join me in congratulating Marcus Blackmore on his induction into the New Hope Hall of Legends.
Thank you, Carlotta, for your most generous remarks. My mother would be very pleased to hear things like that about her son. In fact, I was in Boulder, Colorado, just 4 or 5 weeks ago, and as a guest of my dear friend Doug Green, and who started all this for us, you might appreciate. And Doug took me around a number of stores in Boulder. He took me to Costco. I think these are all representative of what the changes happening in our industry. I couldn't believe the rows and rows of organic food in Costco. It was like a natural food store. We went to Whole Foods. They had 21 checkouts. That's 21 checkouts and basically what's a health food store. So that was pretty amazing for me. He took me to a dope shop. And my wife must have inadvertently said to the assistant in the shop, where you had to produce your passport to get in the front door. That was a bit unusual for retail. Anyway, she must have said something about not sleeping well, and I know she walked out of there with some, I don't know, gummies or cookies or something. I said to Caroline, I said, don't you bring those things back to Australia, we'll both end up in the calaboose. We then spent some time at New Hope, which was a morning at New Hope, talking about Asia and some of the things that are dear to us at Blackmore's. And we were Carlotta's guest, and that was a wonderful session. A couple of weeks later, I got an email from Carlotta inviting me to be part of this Hall of Legends. Well, I wasn't quite sure what a legend was. I sort of had an idea. So I pulled out my trusty Collins dictionary, and there were 2 definitions in there, one a US definition and one a British definition. The US definition said, a notable person whose deeds and exploits are much talked about in his or her own time. I thought, oh wow, that's pretty good, I'll go along with that. The British version was a little different. The British version says a legend is a person whose fame and notoriety makes him or her a source of exaggerated and romanticised tales or exploits. Now, I can't believe how many people turned up here today to this wonderful session. I know 40 of them came from Blackmore, so I think they felt they had to. They might have a different view of whether I fit the British or the US model. So, ladies and gentlemen, I accept this award with profound gratitude, particularly to New Hope, but also with a deep sense of humility. To be considered worthy among those great industry stalwarts and previous awardees of this Hall of Legends fame is indeed humbling. And I'm thinking about people, and some I've seen a couple of them here already, people like Jeffrey Bland, like Mark Blumenthal, Sandy Goop sitting down here at the front, Lauren Israelson, and of course my good friend Doug Green. They're all people who stood up for this industry and fought the battles for us. I've got a couple of other mentions. Bob Van Dyne, who owned a company called Mill Creek, became a very close friend. And another close friend who wasn't exactly liked in this industry was David Shakirian, who started supporting our industry. And we certainly owe a lot to Doug Green. Doug, take a bow. Ladies and gentlemen, this honour is not just for me, but it should be shared by the people who have inspired me in my lifetime in this industry. There are people like Pavo Arola, Linus Pauling, Lee Lord Cordell, Gaylord Hauser, Adele Davis, Paul Bragg, Emmanuel Sharaskin, Carl Pfeiffer, and the Shute brothers from Canada. And I was privileged to be able to meet all of those people in my life. They're the people with a shared philosophy and shared values and a shared belief system that we all have in this room today. It's a philosophy based on nature and an enduring belief that in nature lies so many answers to the health problems of the world today. But the person who most inspired me in my life was my father. He was variously referred to, as I have been, as a quack, a charlatan, and a snake oil salesman. I asked my father once, I said, but they'll call you a quack, Dad. He said, yes, but I'm the best quack, son. He, like these other heroes and pioneers we've had, warned us about chemicals in our food. He told me, don't eat white bread, son, you may as well eat blotting paper. He wouldn't have refined sugar in the house. He challenged orthodox thinking. He didn't like pasteurised milk. He took up the fight for the profession and the very survival of naturopaths, because at one stage naturopaths were banned in the US. The beautiful thing about the philosophical belief system on which our industry and our professions were founded is that it is equally relevant today as it was in the days of my father. Ladies and gentlemen, we are part of an amazing industry.